morning, everyone. Thank you for clicking on my video. And I just came in today to just chit chat with you about some of the things that are going on in the news and a little bit of what's going on in my life. I hope you're having a happy Sunday morning. I am just laying in my bed with a cup of coffee, watching the news as I always do, and looking at all this stuff with Donald Trump. Now, y'all, honestly, I will be so glad when this entire election cycle is over. I was talking to my mother the other day, and she said something that made a lot of sense. She said that because of all of the back and forth and the meanness that's going on between these two candidates, it's tiring for us as the public. And that's where I am. I'm just tired of hearing about it, tired of watching it on television. And I just want to make it to November 8th and just vote and get it over with. I do believe that Hillary Clinton is going to win. But you know, guys, what I was reading this morning about all of this stuff um, is how upset these Trump voters are and how upset they're going to be if he loses. Now, the story that I was reading this morning is about some white supremacists. I think they were down in South Carolina. And what they're saying is if Trump loses, they're coming for black people. Basically, they said that it's going to be a race war and that they're going to come into our neighborhoods and I guess intimidate us and, whatever they plan to do. But when I was thinking about it, the people of today, the black people of today, are not going to allow them to march into our neighborhoods with guns and intimidate us. That's just not going to happen. This is not the 50s, the 60s, the 40s. This is not that time. And if they come into our neighborhoods with violence, they're going to be met with violence. These people are not going to stand by and let them drag them out of their homes and do unspeakable things to them. This is just not going to happen. And I think that they just need to get a grip. Their candidate is going to lose and it's his fault. He is full of shit. He is racist. And I think the whole of America is seeing him for what he truly is. He got all this stuff going on with these women that are accusing him. He gets on television and says that every one of these women are lying. Now, I'm not going to say that maybe some of them didn't come out of the woodwork to get their 15 minutes of fame, but I truly believe that there's some truth in some of the things that these women are saying. And, like I said, I just will be glad when all of this is over. I watched the debate. I didn't want to do a review of it because basically I'm just seriously tired of it, you know? I the other day was sitting and talking to my daughter's boyfriend. I think I mentioned in the video that he was going to be deployed soon, and he came over before he was to leave. And, I just sat and talked to this young man for about 3 or 4 hours. And when he left, I got to thinking. I said, we have, these young men like my daughter's boyfriend who are African American, who are suiting up in their uniforms and going off to defend this country. I looked at this young man and I was worried about him, and I told him to take care of himself and come back to us in one piece, with his mind intact and all of that, because he's only 22 years old. And you think about them going over to these foreign countries and seeing and having to do things that a 22-year-old should not have to go through. Then you contrast that with all this shit that Donald Trump is talking, and it just it worries you. Here's a young man, my daughter's boyfriend, that is so, into his military career and wanting to be out there protecting our country. This is his fourth year in the military. And I worry about him because if Donald Trump gets in and he upsets, you know, another country and they want to come for America, it will be young men like my daughter's boyfriend who are out defending us. And it just upsets me to no end because these young people and these people that are in the military, they have families, they have a life, and their lives should not be put in danger fucking around with some psychopath like Donald Trump. And with that, y'all, I'm going to stop talking about that subject because it worries me for uh, my soldier, which is my daughter's boyfriend, and all the other soldiers out there. When I was talking to my daughter, she was telling me that they have been looking at engagement rings. So it just worries me, and I don't want to talk about it, and because it's too much sometimes. So what else is going on? Well, I went to the doctor Friday, y'all, and I've been waiting for this appointment to see this neurosurgeon, and he's ordered an MRI and some other tests so we can start working on my damn spine. Y'all know that I've been having problems for like over a year now, and even though I hate going to the doctor, I was so happy to get to this appointment. Have you ever been like that where you had a problem and even though you hate seeing doctors, when this doctor walk in because he's going to fix whatever the problem is that you're having, you kind of happy to see him? That's how I was when I went to this appointment. I was thinking to myself, Lord, whatever you need to do to get my shit back in whack, let's get to it, because I'm tired of not feeling like myself. I'm just tired of that. And then what else is going on? I was talking to my mom the other day. We had a good talk about a lot of stuff that's going on in the world and, just chit-chatting like mothers and daughters do. And she was just talking about the election and how tired she is. And we just went over a lot of things. I also have, in the last couple days, had long conversations with my kids. I Skyped with my daughter last night, I think it was, yeah. And just, getting to know her as an adult. And I had a conversation with my son and we just chit-chatted. I'm going to tell y'all something about adult kids. When they were little, everything in their world you could fix for them, control for them, and keep them safe. But have you noticed, like, if you have adult kids and they have problems, their problems become bigger than you because basically we can't fix everything for them anymore. Basically, what I do is I tell my kids that life is a series of hills and valleys. And what I mean by that is sometimes you're on the hill and everything is going well and your life is happy and you got no problems. But at other times you're in the valley, your money ain't right, you got problems with your mate and maybe your job is not great. But what I told them is that's a part of life. And that's why when they're young, we tell them to enjoy it because once you become an adult, things change. You start dealing with adult problems and you're out there in the world and you're finally seeing what mom and dad have been trying to tell you for years, just enjoy being young. Because now when I look at my kids, like I said in the video, when they're young, you're like the captain of the ship. You control everything. But then when they become adults, you're like the co-pilot. And you're just kind of sitting back, watching them in their lives and hoping that everything that you taught them when they were growing up, they take it with them out in life. And so far, my kids are okay. Like everyone, they have their little problems in their lives, but I try my best to step back and let them, make whatever mistakes they're going to make, because first of all, they're not going to listen to us. They think they know more than what we do. Ain't that something? You raise them, but when they become quote unquote adults, they believe that they know everything. And, times have changed, Mom. It's not like it was when you were younger. But you sit here and think a lot of the stuff that they're going through, you went through when you were younger. So you try to give your mom and dad advice, and hopefully they listen. But, you know, a lot of times they don't. And we're just trying to ward off or head off some bad stuff that they're going through that we might have went through when we were younger. You're trying to save them from it. But a lot of times they need to fall and bump their heads for them to believe what you have been trying to tell them. Isn't that something, y'all? Is I told my daughter yesterday when I was talking to her, I said it's so weird that you guys are adults now and I'm an empty nester. And sometimes I long for the times when they were little, and you might have been cooking dinner or making them something special, and you just turn around and you look at your babies and life is good. This being an empty nester has been like a transition for me. The first year when my house was empty, my daughter had gone off to college, it was an adjustment, and I was sitting here like, oh my God, where are my babies at? I'm no longer, taking care of anyone. But then as time went on, I was sitting here like, oh, I kind of like this. I don't have to jump up on Saturday mornings running anybody anywhere. I don't have to shoot from work and go to a recital or anything like that, or a game or something that one of them, was playing sports and I had to rush home and try to get them to this game or go to the game, and all of that stuff that parents go through. So now I'm just at the point where, if they need me to come do something or help them with something or decorate something, this is a whole different feeling. And it took me a long time to get here, but I'm finally at the point where I say, well, they're grown, and basically it is my turn. It's time to do all the stuff that I couldn't do when they were younger. And sometimes you know, the prospects of what I'm going to do with the rest of my life is kind of daunting. But I look forward to this second part of life, a life without, having to care for young kids. Now sometimes I feel like they're looking out after me. The roles have changed, and it gives me a chuckle every so often. Now my ex is gone, so I'm the only parent that they have. And sometimes I think because they lost their dad, and he died from something that was out of his control. He died of pancreatic cancer. When I get sick, I believe it scares them because I am the only parent that they have. So I try when I'm not feeling well to not let them know it a lot of times, because I don't want to upset them. You know, um, they they have a long life to live, and they need their parent here. I have family members who are my age that have died in the last couple years, and I look at their kids, and right at the time in life when they needed their parent, because now they're adults and they're out facing the world, their parent is gone. So a lot of times I also look at my kids, and I wonder, do they know how lucky they are to have me? Because my little nieces and nephews that have lost their parents, I feel so sorry for them. And I always let them know that, if they ever need to talk, or if they ever need, some mommy love, that I am here for them. It just breaks my heart because like one of my little nieces, she had a baby, and she is on Facebook sometimes talking about how she wishes her mom was here, and that she knows that her mom would have spoiled her baby. And every time I read stuff like that, it breaks my heart for them. This is a part of life, dying and birth and all of that. But when you're a young adult, I think you still need your parent. You know, I look at my son and knows that he still needs his dad, even though he's in his late 20s. He's become a man, and there are things that he needs to be able to sit down with the dad and talk about. And I hurt for them. And even for my daughter, a girl needs her dad because her dad teaches her what to look for in a man. So for these kids, I just sometimes feel so sorry for them. This is just life, y'all. And I don't know. Sometimes I get in these melancholy moods where I'm just thinking about things and, worrying about people. And that's just who I am. I don't know. I've always been like that. A person that really cares for other people. And if you're hurting, I'm that friend that if you're crying, I'm crying too. I told y'all I got a big old tender heart. I don't even know how I got to be like that, but it is what it is. I am a caretaker to my soul. You come over my house and you tell me a sad story, child, I'm cooking up food and we gonna sit at the table and we're going to talk and cry together and try to figure out how to get you out of whatever it is that you're going through. That's just who I am. And I think that's a good thing. Sometimes it could be a heavy burden, but when you're just built that way, it just comes naturally. You want to help people, you know. So y'all, I've been chatting long enough. I just thought sometimes on Sundays I would come in and tell you what's going on with my life, and just hope all of you are doing well and you're making it out here. So with that, I'm gonna end my video, and I want to say everybody stay safe. It's a lot of crazy mess going on out here in the world. So wherever you are, and if you're listening to my voice, just stay safe and love your family and just try to make it out here in this world. And with that, thank you for listening to my video, and I will see you in the next one, folks. Bye-bye.